Hello and welcome to another macro video. We're looking at editing punctuation today, and as always we're looking for time savings and looking to reduce the amount of repetitive strain injury that we suffer. Okay, so why are we looking at punctuation? Well, it's something that we do lots of while we're working. We're forever changing the punctuation in some way or another, and there are lots of things that we might do, so lots of macros, but I'm not going to demonstrate them all, don't worry. When we're making changes, then a lot of our changes are topical as we're reading and editing, and the changes there will only be small, but because there are lots of them, then that overall will make a good saving for us. And when we're making global changes, obviously before we edit, those are going to speed that up. Those are going to make big changes. Can we do global punctuation changes? Well, yes, it's not as easy as some kinds of global changes, but it is worth the effort because apart from saving the time, you'll also get less distraction while you're actually editing because you've cleared up quite a bit of stuff and you can concentrate more on the individual sentences. You can use Fredit as the obvious tool for global find and replace for these, and as you use it, you will find you improve and learn what works and what doesn't. So, for example, double quotes to single, that's dead easy, just double quote to single. But the single quote within quote, that needs to be done manually rather than globally there. Changing from single quotes to double is more of a problem, of course, because of apostrophes, but that again is dealt with in the Fredit library, so you can refer to that and just copy the bits from there into your own Fredit list. But I've also produced a new global find and replace, which allows you to do quotes within quotes, and it will take care of all that. But as with any of these global things to do with quotes, S apostrophe is the difficulty because you don't know whether the S apostrophe is actually a plural possessive or whether it really is the end of a quote. And what the macro then does is when it makes the changes, it puts those highlights on for you, and so you know to check it. Right, so when we're making changes, what sort of actions do we take? What do we actually do? Well, obviously we're going to add some quotes, and the very first macro I ever wrote for this was comma add, because I was doing a lot of adding of commas, so that was an obvious one. So I read this shows, okay, so we want a comma there and a comma after C, so easy enough, we're adding commas. Removing commas, we've got punctuation off. That's quite useful, so we can say, well, I don't want these commas, I've changed my mind, so I just use that and that to get rid of them, and it takes off the next punctuation in the line. We switch the type of punctuation, obviously between colon, semicolon, commas and whatever, so and then we switch the order sometimes, probably less often, so if it's full stop, close quote, or close quote, full stop, so we may need to switch those if necessary. I'm saying two mechanisms. What I mean is that how do you tell the macro what to do when you run it? Well, for some of the changes you make, you have to choose which word, so you have to click in the word, and some of them the macro can just whiz along the line, so you just click somewhere to the left, it whizzes along to find the particular thing that it's got to deal with. So if we have our example again, so we have to choose the word to add the commas, shows and see, but when we want to take them off, then we just go to the left somewhere and check them off 1, 2, and you don't have to move the cursor in between. Any of the whiz along punctuation macros have a similar name, so it's punctuation to something or other. So for example, punctuation to single quote, so an example here, you've got different kinds of quotes. If they all want to be single quotes, then we can go 1, So straight quotes, double quotes, and quotes the wrong way around are all changed easily enough. So there's lots of different ones of those. Different punctuations need to be added. Double quotes, single quotes, German and French, various dashes, hyphens, all sorts of things. I mean, you can read it and see what's there. So if you need any more other, if there are other punctuation marks that you want to whiz along the line to, then let me know. One worth particular mention is punctuation to apostrophe, because Word is not very good at being able to put an apostrophe in front of a phone as opposed to an open quote. So we have punctuation to apostrophe, so we go one for that and one for that, so that gets them the right way around. It can also be done globally, and that's explained in the Fredit library. Okay, switching the order of punctuation is done by swap punctuation. So here we go. So if we want to swap the punctuation, we click somewhere to the left of the first pair and go click, click, and those changes those. Okay, and then what have we got? Yes, punctuation switch. I'm not sure how useful this is, but I'll mention it anyway. The idea is it's a single macro that can change different marks. It will switch back and forth between pairs, so it'll go either way, back and forth between comma and period, because those are, we do tend to switch those back and forth, and commas and colons and semicolons. And it just has a list at the beginning of the macro, and you can add to that if you want. So like there's a parentheses being changed to oh, it's not visible, is it? Hang on. That's it. So yeah, so you can see there's pairs that change, but I wouldn't worry about that. Much more importantly are the word break punctuation changes. This is particularly good because when you want to change that to a comma between a sentence and here, then you've got to change the punctuation mark and you've got to change the case. So that's dealt with if we use comma, so it changes the comma and changes the case, or just put it back again there, or do it for a dash, and it again makes the changes we need. So there are lots of those. There they all are. Okay, and for fiction editors, you can do the same sort of thing, but with when it's in dialogue. So if you want the full stop there and a capital He, then you do that, and obviously the other way around, comma takes it down again. That sort of thing can also be done globally, and there is a macro for that, but that might need a bit of work, either by you to have a look and see what it does, or me to change it if necessary. Okay, joining two words. So a couple of things here. So if we want that joined, then we can run join two words, and similarly there, join two words for that. Punctuation to space. So if we think the spare time should be two separate words, then we can do punctuation to space. That's fine there. So another one, quotes adds. We're often putting quotes around things. So if we have a sentence round to play with, so if we want quotes around this, so it's an expression, so we click in the left hand word, shift click in the right hand one, and run quotes add single, and that goes around there. And then the other one I can demonstrate on the same sentence is italic quote toggle. So for that one, you click somewhere in the quoted text, and if we want that expression to be italic instead, then we run that macro, and so it takes the quotes off and makes it italic. The same thing again backwards. It works both ways around. The same macro does both. And what else have we got? Oh yes, last but not least, quite an old one. If you've got missing final punctuation on things, then you can check that globally with paragraph end checker, and when you run that, then it will find this sentence here which hasn't got a final punctuation mark, and it will add a highlight to the end, so it'll probably do that. But the idea is that it doesn't do headings, it tries to leave headings alone, and it only marks those which are actually sort of look like long sentences. Okay, that's it. I should think that's enough for now, and I hope you enjoyed it. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye now.